All right, for this discussion, let's now welcome Director of Risc Recon, as well as former Ambassador Dr Kinglsely Mkahubela. Dr Mkahubela, it's always a pleasure. Welcome, sir. So let's get your assessment of this move by DIRCO. Is it a justifiable action on South Africa's part? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Alicia. There are two things that are coming out of the DIRCO statement. Let me start by indicating that an insult to the head of state is always taken very seriously by the receiving state. There's no excuse for any diplomat to insult his or her host. That's fundamental in the field of diplomatic practice. Having said that, Alicia, the second one that Mr. Zeitman failed to inform DIRCO about the purported visit of senior Israeli government. I don't know where did DIRCO get that in terms of the Vienna Convention. Unless they are confusing that with Article 10 of the Vienna Convention, that really spells out the movement of diplomats to the mission. That if there's a new person coming, you have to inform your host. If there's an old diplomat leaving, you have to do that. But really to say any official visiting the Israeli embassy here, they must inform DIRCO, that does not constitute any form of violation of the diplomatic norm. Because you get a movement from the sending state now and then to perform various activities like auditing of the mission, looking at the compliance of the embassy and so on. It's not the expansion of the diplomatic mission. But if DIRCO, by saying that they are referring to the fact that there's been an expansion of the diplomatic mission, or people who are coming here and performing that within the diplomatic mission, it's a serious violation, and that is regulated. Sizes of missions are regulated under Article 11 of the Vienna Convention. So I don't know where did DIRCO get the question of purported visit, and I don't know what does that mean. But having said that, Alicia, the expulsion or declaring somebody persona non grata, invoking Article 9 of the Vienna Convention, it's a very serious matter.
All right, Doc, a very interesting take. I mean, we're going to listen to this first. Meanwhile, the South African Jewish Board of Deputies has expressed disappointment over the expulsion of the Israeli diplomat, saying that the timing of the move appeared very suspicious. Let's listen to this first.
I think I speak for the majority, I do speak for the majority of Jews in South Africa to say that we're shocked, we're deeply disappointed, and we're quite outraged, actually, at the fact that DIRCO has taken this momentous decision at a time when world events, and we are seeing world events occurring that are of such enormous significance. I give you for the example, as we speak, figures are that in Iran, more than 30,000 people, more than 30,000 Iranian citizens are being massacred by their own government. As we speak, at a time of great global turmoil where people are being murdered around the world, DIRCO finds itself having the time and the energy to focus on expelling a member of the Israeli diplomatic corps in South Africa when it ignores all of these abuses around the world. Mm-hmm. To be honest, it feels to me, and I suspect it will feel to many other people, that the suggestion that some criticism of South Africa is sufficient to get a diplomat expelled from this country feels petty, and I don't think it comes out of context. We have seen in the last 3 years the South African government, and in particular the ANC DIRCO position, has consistently been one-sided in relation to everything that happens in Israel. This has been an ongoing escalation and an attempt to really to demonize, firstly, the only Jewish state, and this is not happening out of context. It's not happening just in response to a few tweets. We're talking about a few tweets. We're talking about a country that just last week, as far as I understand, offered to bring water technology to the Eastern Cape, which desperately needs it. I think that the timing is not coincidental, that when a country that offers to bring water to an area that desperately needs it, that may in advertently, I don't know, have embarrassed the South African government for not being able to do so, suddenly the South African government have decided to expel a member of the diplomatic corps. I'm not sure if that timing, I'm not making accusations, but the timing seems suspicious.
Well, I'm still in conversation with Dr. Kinglsely Mkahubela pertaining this very matter. So, Doc, I'm not sure if you want to comment on that response. You're not entitled to, well, you are entitled to at your own accord. But, I mean, she makes a very interesting point there that criticism of South Africa should not necessitate the expulsion of a diplomat within South Africa. And then she names the various issues. But quite interesting also that, of course, this has been centralized to just, of course, the arrival of the Israeli delegation that, of course, made donations out in the Eastern Cape. Doctor?
You know, Alicia, no, she lost it. If you listen to DECO's statement, it says for the insult against the president as a head of state. It's not a criticism of the receiving state. Criticism of receiving states are usual, and I've seen a lot of countries that are criticizing South Africa on a host of issues. So I think she's losing it there. But really to try to pin this down to some form of conspiracy theory, it's quite problematic. DECO has made a case. She admits herself that there are few tweets. It doesn't matter, it's the gravity of the tweets and the behavior of the diplomat that is at core. What she's quite correct is that there's tension between the two countries. In the best of time, Alicia, what would have happened is that South Africa, as the receiving state, would have informed the Israeli government to say, we would like you to recall Mr. Zeidman because we think he's out of context in what he's doing. And they would quietly remove him if they so wish. But because of the tension that exists between the two countries, you are seeing this kind of behavior. And that's why normal diplomatic practice is affected in the worst case of time. And between Israel and South Africa, this is the worst time because there's tension that exists between the two countries. I think what Mr. Zeidman should have been able to do is to be cognizant of the tension that exists and not behave outside his normal lane. I think that he has done. The invitation of the Israelis to come here and so on, I think is neither here nor there. It doesn't constitute any violation. What is a violation, and I think I had a discussion with Bongiwe sometime during the course of this week on your channel, it's Article 41 of the Vienna Convention. Because the Vienna Article 41 requires the Israelis to perform their activities and to do that through DECO. And there's been information that whatever they were doing in the Eastern Cape, it was not communicated to DECO. But South Africa, we also muddy the water, Alicia, to get the premier of the province to issue out statements and say, foreign policy is not concurrence. The premier has no role in that space. This is the role exclusively of DECO, and DECO should have made that. They subsequently issued out a statement, which is not their function as the local government. But that has nothing to do with the Israelis. It's an internal thing that South Africa should better manage moving forward.
Interesting take, Doctor. I mean, DECO still reiterates that it has continued to diplomatically address these transgressions that they have leveled against the Israeli government, more specifically, Mr. Ariel Zeidman. So this move was well within South Africa's diplomatic and sovereign right. Was it, what is the worst then that could happen, you think, as a direct effect of this decision? We know that South Africa currently shares long-time diplomatic relations, even though soured from voting for the creation of the Israeli state back in 1947, those deepened relations that they had with the apartheid South Africa among decades, long ties. I mean, there's quite more at stake, even if Israel doesn't see it that way since they have the US as their close ally.
You know, Alicia, if DECO indeed has been discussing with the Israeli mission here to say you can't keep on doing this, if they insisted on doing that, irrespective of concerns arising from DECO, there will be a serious violation of their diplomatic activities, and DECO is within its right. Remember, in terms of invoking Article 9 of the Vienna Convention, you don't even have to give reasons as to why you're declaring somebody a persona non grata. South Africa actually has gone beyond that to say these are the reasons for declaring a persona non grata. It's within South African right, South African government right to really declare Mrs. Zeidman a persona non grata and request him to leave within 72 hours. It's within the norm. But it's because of the tension that exists. What is likely to have is because of the tension that we've seen between South Africa and the United States on this issue. I wouldn't be surprised if the United States also jump on this bandwagon and start to criticize South Africa. That's why I'm saying South Africa should be very careful, remove this thing of saying that, well, for the visit of senior official to come, it has nothing to do with the violation of the Vienna Convention, that one. But the other one of insulting the president is quite serious. And South Africa should take that very seriously if there's a diplomat who behave in this manner.
Thank you, Doctor, for actually raising that point. Unfortunately, I'm out of time. I was just going to probe you about what do you see as the likely response from, of course, Israel's biggest ally and currently in serious tensions with South Africa, that is, of course, being the United States. Thank you so much, as always. The sound analysis there by Dr. Kinglsely Mkahubela there of Risc Recon, and he's also the former ambassador with some analysis of the unfolding Israel-South Africa debacle.